How's it going, ScrubGamers? Welcome back to another video here at ScrubGames, and today we're going to review my deck profile for the Green Turles deck that I took to the ScrubGames Webcam Locals last Friday. If you haven't checked out the stream, go check out. I do have the VOD up. If you just want to see the games and not the whole VOD, I do have an upload from Monday of my games, just showing the games, and that's it. So with the Green Turles deck, I feel it's a very interesting one. I've been having a lot of fun with a lot of green decks recently because they have some interesting things, and Turles I've been playing in a different way to how most people play it as well, because when I've seen people green Turles, I've seen them play it very aggressively. It's a more of aggressive deck. This is how it was first used when it first came out, and it did well with Marcel Russell playing it at one of the events in the US. But I feel like Green Turles could be quite a nice control deck, it's one of those decks that can switch up its plays and be very flexible in its playstyle. And so I've been playing it as more of a control deck and more of like a controlling deck, which has been quite fun and is a nice taken for. I show it. But before we get into the list, I just want to say, feel free to like the video if you enjoy it. Comment down below if there's anything you want to see or any suggestions you have for the deck that I haven't seen, because I won't see everything, and having a different view on it and people commenting could be quite helpful, and then it can help us get this list to the best it can be. And also, if you're not subscribed, feel free to subscribe because it keeps you updated with my videos as when they drop, and then also you can click the notification bell to get alerts as to when my videos do drop, and it helps me get to my goal of 1,000 subs, which is my main goal that you can help me with. And at every 100 subs, which currently we come up to 400 soon, I do a giveaway. So every 100, next one being at 400, and then when I get to 1,000 subs, which is my goal, I will do a special thing, which I'll detail as we get closer to that goal, because we're still not even currently a quarter, half the way there. So without further ado, let's get into the list. So here is my list for the Green Turles. This is what I played for last on the Friday. There are some changes for sets of team which got over after going through the deck, but essentially it is a control version of Turles. So with the lead as a permanent on both sides, in which your Crush Cups commander cards, if they would be removed by a skill, they're warped instead of against a drop, meaning that you can't successor in this deck, so you can't really play that Cell, Xeno, Seeker, which would be a good one considering how easy it is to spam the board of battle cards, but this has got a restriction of that. And it also has some autos, like some leaders have, and also where at the start of the game it plays something, and in this case you play the Tree of Might, but not in your field, to your opponent's field, so you can get advantage of it on your opponent's field. The only thing with this is it puts your opponent's battle area, so when it comes to time rules, you're giving your opponent an advantage by giving them a card as part of it, because when it comes to end of time, it goes by highest life, most amount of cards in battle area, most cards in deck, then most cards in hand, then after that it doesn't really get to that point. But so you're giving someone extra card in the battle area for the second time rule procedure, which could be a benefit, could be not, but it just helps you do a lot better with comboing and flooding the board and getting advantage. And also has a nice auto where when it attacks, you can take up to one card from your life to your hand if you want to. Like normally I don't really take a card from life, but depending on circumstance, sometimes I will. And then after that, you get a look at the top 5 cards of your hand, at the top of your deck, and add a Turles Corpse card among them to your hand. You get a look at one of these 7 different cards, so you play 4 of each. So it's very going to whiff, but there could be a potential, but it's going to be very rare. And it also has a nice awakening where if your life's 4 or less, or alternatively, if your opponent has 3 or more cards face up in their life, which is very easy to do with this, you have a mid-range awakening where you draw 1, untap 1, and flip over. And when you flip over, you still have that permanent, but you also have another one where now if your leader does damage your opponent, you get to choose which life they take. So where you're looking at your opponent, flipping your opponent's life face up, you get to see what's in the life. So when you do damage to your lead when it's awakened, you get to choose which they take, so you can, rather than giving them something they might want from the life, give them something they don't want and just keep them only taking what you want. And now when you attack, you got the auto. If you just attack, you get a draw. So no more searching, just drawing, which could be beneficial. I feel like the searching is a little bit beneficial early game, but once you get to later game, drawing is a lot better to draw outside your archetype. And it also now has an activate main. Once per turn, you choose one card in your hand, place it at the bottom of your deck, add a Fruit of the Tree of Might from your drop area to your hand. Now it's a card you normally get during your opponent's turn from the Tree of Might, which is very nice. And this allows you to make a way of recycling it so you're always getting a card from your opponent. Because the nice thing about your deck, this deck advantage wise is every turn during your turn you get the draw card for a turn, and then when you swing you get to gain a card from your lead. And in your opponent's turn, as soon as they charge, you get the flip of life from their one of your life face up, that is face down, and then add a Fruit of the Tree of Might from your hand. So between your opponent's turn, between the start of your turn to the end of your opponent's turn, you're gaining 3 cards for free. Very nice, where most decks only gain 2. And using this, you're allowed to make sure that there's always a Tree of Might in your deck by putting back a Fruit of Tree of Might that's in your hand back to the bottom of your deck, and adding one from your drop area to your hand. Because then when you pass your turn to your opponent and they charge, they then flip a life, and you add that card back, that Fruit of the Tree of Might back to your hand. And it's nice because it takes away the cost of some things. Like for Dormant, you get Atos for free. So for Dormant, you technically not pay anything because you've got a free Fruit of the Tree of Might. You start your opponent's turn to discard for Dormant. Or if you want to activate the Boo Negate, you can do it for that. Or if your opponent wants to discard a card from your hand, you can just drop it knowing you can grab it back and put them back in everyone to the bottom of your deck. You get that advantage up, so you're just gaining quite a lot of advantage. And normally the first one you grab is going to be a charge because you're always running 4 copies, so you have to worry too much. And that is it for the leader. So getting into the card it plays, we've got Fruit Tree, the Tree of Might. So this is one where it's got permanent, where what's in the battle area, this card can't be played in the drop area by your skills. And remember that this is played in your opponent's area, so it can't remove by their skills. And then it was in the battle area, it reduces the cost of your Crush Corps commanders as your opponent, as you are the opponent of your opponent, in your hand and battle area by 1. So the cost you have on like Keshi Days and stuff like that, or the multicolor ones, is taken off. So they're just free combos, which is very nice. So it's nothing that really costs energy to combo apart from your big bosses, which you're gonna be playing. And it's got the auto of if your opponent's energy is all mono green, which that's why you always have to make sure you're only charging mono green. If this card is in your battle area, your main phase, you choose one face down card in your life and flip it face up. And if you do, your opponent adds a Fruit of the Tree of Might from the deck to hand and shuffles the deck if they look through it. So this is what I mean by as soon as your opponent charges, goes to their main phase, you flip one of their face down life up, and then you get out a Fruit of the Tree of Might. And since the Fruit of the Tree of Might flips the card life face down the trigger, you can basically use it and then get one back and just keep making sure you're flipping life up and down and gain advantage that way. But as well as that, we have the Unison package being 4 for Unison, 4 Charismatic and 4 Dormant. So Dormant being there to help limit the amount of attacks your opponent has in a turn to survive easier. Charismatic being a fantastic counterplay. And for our Unison, I've gone for the King Vegeta Invasions command. The main reason for this is that it's got a +1, where you choose one of your opponent's battle cards, choose one card in your opponent's hand, or one of the battle cards in the barrier, and place it in his own drop area. And the great thing about this is that it's barrier removal, and as I keep saying in every deck profile, every deck needs barrier removal, and this is it for the deck, and it's a fantastic way as well. Because when you drop it, turn 3, you're going to be having 4 markers on it, easy to defend it with your blockers and Dormant, so it's going to be able to survive and just control your opponent's, remove your opponent's barrier threats. And the nice thing is it doesn't trigger anything that would be KO'd because it's sending, it's placing in the drop area, not KOing. And also, if your opponent doesn't have anything board, you can rip cards from hand. And just like how good Cells Destroying Kamehameha is, where you get to choose, your opponent doesn't get to choose a card they don't want in their hand and discard it, you get to choose to take something properly strong, like a Secret Rare, super combat your opponent's hand. This does the same thing in that your opponent you just take a card from your opponent's hand, random, of your choice, at random, and place it in the drop, instead of letting them choose something they don't want and discarding it. And it also has a way to deal with large boards with its -X skill, where for each marker you remove using this skill, choose one of your opponent's battle cards to KO it. So if you remove like 3 markers for that skill, you get to KO 3 things. So it's very nice to deal with specific things or deal with wide boards, which is very, very flexible. And then going into the Crush Corps, we have 4 of each one. So we have the Turles, which is a pseudo arrival. So basically, I say pseudo rival because it's actually a battle, where by paying 1 green, if you have 2 or more Crush Corps cards in your combo area, play this card from your hand, and that's very easy to pull off in this because you've got most of like free combo, and they normally play when they're comboed as well. And it's got a nice auto. When you play it, you choose one card in your hand and place it in your bottom of your deck as a cost. so allowing you put the fruit back, something you don't want back in your deck, to then play the card. What's it? Draw 2 cards, gain 5k until the end of your opponent's next turn, and flip a card from your opponent's life face up. So it's fantastic in the fact you get to put a card that you don't want in your hand back to your deck, draw 2 brand new cards, which is nice, gain 5k until the end of your opponent's next turn. So if you're pledging your opponent's turn, it is still 5k until the end of the next turn. So for 3 turns you essentially get a 5k boost to it. And then you get to add to the alternate awakening condition by flipping one of your opponent's life face up, which is very helpful. And you can only have one because that's unique, but it has the flex, so it can't be stopped from coming in. And then the normal cards you could be comboing to allow this to play is Daze, Lakeshi, Raisin, or Cacao. Cacao being the super combo, life of 4 or less, draw a card, just adds to the strategy by being a Crutch Corps commander for Turles to arrival in, and being switchable from your leader on the front side. And you don't really need the Paragus when you've got one that is in theme. And you got Daze, Lakeshi, and Raisin when they're coming from life or deck. No, it's not for life or deck, sorry, it's from hand or deck. They then play themselves in rest mode, or they play themselves on the board. Daze and Lakeshi play in rest mode, Raisin plays in active mode because it's a blocker. And they've all got different effects when they're played. Daze will basically look at the top 3 cards of your deck when played, look for a Crusher Corps commander, add them to your hand, and shuffle your deck. Lakeshi and Raisin, when they're played, they will they'll play the Ever from the deck, and then Lakeshi will allow you to draw one and discard one after, and Raisin is basically just in active mode as a blocker. And that is it for those. And they're only free. The Daze, Lakeshi, and Raisin are all just like 3k combo, because you can't have 3 for playing that being higher cost, especially like with how helpful they are to trigger the Crusher Corps commander. And the Cacao is basically the super combo. And then as well as that, we have the multicolored ones that I've added in. So we've got Turles, Dominance at Hand. This is a 16k blocker, very nice, and it's got an activate main where for limit 1, meaning you can only do it once per turn across all copies of the card. You pay a green if there are 2 or more Crusher Corps cards in your battle area. Play this card from your hand, and that's very easy to pull off because these ones are playing like Daze and Lakeshi and stuff. They're playing for 1 or for free, and Lakeshi and Raisin are the easiest way to play this because you just combo 1. Then when they play the Ever cards, I put 2 on your board, ready to play this. And it's very nice in the fact that when it's played, it's got an auto, when it's played, you draw a card to replace itself from your hand, and then you get to choose 1 or 2 effects. Only 1 is relevant because the effects depend on the colour of your leader. And since our leader is green, it chooses up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, switch to rest mode. And this is quite nice because you get the wrestling that your opponent has in active mode, so you can attack into it if you want to get rid of it without using removal. And then we evolve on top of this with the 6-drop. Now this is a blocker revenge, and it evolves on top of the 4-drop 2 energy, so you can drop this as early as turn 2, and it's a very nice card as well. You're not going to need a rival because as the Tree of Might needs mono green energy, you only be hard charging green. And then we have the auto, the first 2 autos, first one being once per turn, where when this card KOs the opponent's battle card, you switch this card to active mode and choose 1 card in your opponent's hand and discard it. Now this could be from attacking into something, by just attacking into something to kill something, or by blocking and triggering revenge to trigger that as well. So it's very nice that having this on board means your opponent's less likely to want to attack with battle cards because you just block with this, out combo the attack, restand or rip a card from your opponent's hand and have it block again. And it's got a nice auto where if your opponent gets punished if they get rid of this by effect, because of its effect is when this card is removed from your battle area by opponent's skill, you choose all your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, KO them, then choose all your opponent's battle cards and switch them to rest mode. So a bit similar to like what the old set 1 Freezer SR does, but this is one removed, so you basically come down, have it there to just cause havoc by just blocking battle cards, killing them and ripping cards from your opponent's hand. If they try to get rid of it, you rest it. So this is like a very good play that I normally drop against things like U7, where if I feel they're going to use the secret rare or the U7 Goku, have this down so if they do want to use U7 Goku to get rid of this, the Goku again gets rested so it can't attack, so I don't have to worry about that and they've tapped out for it, or at least tapped 4 for it. And this is just a very nice card to get it, an easy searchable with the leader. Then we have the Fruit of Tree of Might. So this is the card you get from the field, well not the field, the Tree of Might. It's an activate battle which if your leader card is Turles Crusher Corps card, which is all your energy is mono green, and you flip up to 1 face-up card from your opponent's life face down. That's all the cost. You choose up to 1 of your leader cards or battle cards and give it 20k power for the battle, so you get for 1 energy 20k power for the battle, and if the card that you're using on has Turles in its name against double strike. So you can turn your lead into a 35k double striker, like add 20k in double strike to Turles Crash Course Commander, or either of these two multicolored Turles. It's like have another way to finish the game off with a double strike. So this is why you don't need Champa. And then the other extra cards we got is Homicidal Clones being Token Negate, very useful to help. Like if you go down to 5, to help just defend easier by negating attack and getting a blocker to help defend easier, to block another attack. Then we have Kill Driver. This is an extra way to remove things, while also being essentially a pseudo super combo and being a 1-cost 10k draw one. Because if your leader card is a Turles Crusher Corpse card, and you flip up to one of your opponent's life face up, so another way to add your opponent's life face up to get that alternative awakening quickly, to awaken at high life. You then choose one of your leader cards or battle cards, it gains 10k power for the battle. Then you choose one or two effects. It's always going to have the troll one, that's the main thing you go to, but then it's got the option of if it's your turn, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost greater than their current energy and KO it. So that's a nice way to get some removal of things early if you want to, but mostly you're going to be using it for the 10k draw one, the out combo, and flip a life face up. And that is it for the green extra cards and the archetype. Now we have the tech cards. So we got free Boo, just being a negate, like you can have between the option of this or Oceanus, because Oceanus helps with your opponents could be milling, so you can, like, it is more of a turn stopper than the Boo. It depends on what you go for, because you can have, I go for the Boo because it's just nice to have that extra green in the deck, because if you have only Oceanus, you add more and more non-green cards, which makes it harder to charge. Sometimes then you're going to have a decision where you're going to have to charge something you don't want to charge, whereas the Boo, I think for main deck allows me to charge it if I need be, or at least negate the attack and be able to make it so they have to discard more cards from hand to keep attacking, which a lot of people, when they see the advantage in hand, they're not going to want to keep going through with Oceanus early enough. It depends really, because Oceanus is not as great early because they can still attack through it, but later game it's more impactful and it just ends the turn. But then Boo is more impactful early game, but then later it gets to the game, depending how their hand size is, it could potentially be not as great or still good. Like I feel Boo is more like throughout the game it could be useful, whereas Oceanus is better later game as they're losing cards on deck. Then we have Mecha Gabura. This is more just like to call out linear decks, and since you can build 60 cards and have that consistency of, like, due to our archetype, just filtering a deck really quickly. Mecha Gabura can help as a main deck to deal with linear plays in certain decks, which I feel is useful. And then for finisher big bombs, we've got Food and Not Banish being one of the best overwhelms to finish off. Being able to come down for 4 energy, give you free 25k attacks because it's a triple attacker, and having a permanent which puts a cost on your opponent where if they want to activate any skills at all, they have to warp a card from hand to trigger a skill each time. So if they want to do it like Baby Hatch, they drop 3 cards from hand, but you can be careful if they do Baby Hatch. And just giving that extra pressure when you need be, and you can easily fill up a board, like a drop area, very easily in this deck. And we have Pan as the secret choice. Like, there are quite a few good green secret rares, but I feel where you can drop like quite a wide board, Pan can just come down for free and being useful as a just either a defense, being very strong as a defensive secret rare, or as an offensive just 40k free play is just too good to pass up in any deck. And then for the last card we got 4 Bardock, because where you can discard a card off of like Boo or Lakeshi, it's just nice to be able to ditch something like this to make use of something in your drop area. So when you're ditching a card from something like that, you can replace this. You can have this as being Ribrian instead of Bardock, but I've gone for a main deck in Bardock just for the helpful draw to help keep my hand up and keep the advantage going. And then I could side into Ribrian if I want to go against more of a like hand control strategy against certain decks. And that is the main deck. I did have a side deck as well, where normally you'd have some the Bardock Unison in play to help deal with things like what we used to be King Piccolo and Blue Bojack, because you have more Blue Bojack being played in the UK. And then we've got Vegeta to help deal with Blue, because I hate Blue. Jiren to deal with Turn the Tide, because you do against Blue. Turn the Tide is a horrible thing to deal with, so this is more of a later game deck than an aggro deck. Blue Impulse, because it's just a board wipe for 1 energy. Once you get Unison down, it's easy to do. And then Big or more to deal with big battle, like 5k more battle card strategies, like U7, Sin Shenron and stuff like that. And Oceanus to be able to switch out the Boo for the Oceanus. If need be, like you can side Rubrian, but I've decided not to go with the side Rubrian. I might probably drop the Bardock, but this is just the deck I was going to go for on on Friday, and yeah. So the normally turn play is charge one yellow, charge one green, and then save that energy so you can either swing. Well, depending on your turn, you're going first. You're going first. If like normally you want to try and get the Crash Corps Commander or Turles Dominance Land, because that way, if you're going first, you normally want to have Crash Corps Commander, so you can combo any one of these three here, any two of these three, normally being days, and either one of these two. So that way you can rival in Turles during your opponent's turn and have these cards set up, and then turn 2 go into Turles Dominance Hand. Or if you go in second, you only have a Lakesia Raisin, so you can swing, drop Lakesia Raisin, get its 2 on board, then drop Turles, so you've got 2 blockers to help defend. And then on your second turn, you normally want to be charging the Fruit of the Tree of Might, so you have that free charge that you basically were given to your opponent's turn. And then try and establish, either if you've already got the Dominance of Hand out, you can drop the Dark Power Unleash to help defend easier against your opponent's board. And then turn 3, you normally want to start dropping the Unison, so that way you have that on board and defend it a lot easier. And normally by turn 3 you can awaken, either by alternative awakening or by going down to 4 life. And after that, you're basically just controlling your opponent, managing your board by dropping the Turles to help, so you've got them ready for root, giving double strike if need be, and just help defending as well with like dormant blockers and stuff like that. And then you're going to be finishing even with Boo as well when you get further energy. Then finish off by either dropping Fu, Pan and stuff to just push through by over advantaging. And that is the list I was using for the webcam, because I had to quickly get it sorted because I was quite lazy with my time. And this is the actual list I would use going for future. So it's basically the same extra card you play, same 60 cards as well, Unison Package, Secret Rare, Big Boss Guy, all the Crash Corps. Still having the Boo because I feel it's a better charge than Oceanus early, and because you need to be charging green. Bardock as well. All the rest, the only difference is instead of the Mecha Kabura, I've got 2 copies of the 9-drop cell from set 17, and this is great because this is essentially like a green card, not really a blue card. It's playable in any. The weird thing is, it's a really strong blue card, but it's not playable in any blue deck, but it's playable in any green deck because of its activate main cost. Where for limit 1, you can only play 1 copy discard a turn. You need to play 1 blue, 1 green, and 2 of any other colour, and this allows you to play a card from your hand or energy and gain double strike. And the fact of the matter why this is playable in any green deck, but not playable in any blue deck, is because its effect requires 1 blue, 1 green. Now it's a blue card itself, so it counts as the blue. So in green, well, in any blue deck, you need to add green to it to be able to play this. Whereas any green deck, you need to be able to have it counts as itself as blue for the blue part, and then all the rest of your stuff is green, so it's absolutely fine. And it won't impact really with your Tree of Might or anything, or Fruit, because you're going to be just charging this by turn 4 or later, paying its effect straight away. Like whenever you want to play this, you basically just charge it in your energy. Then tap itself as a blue, a green, and any 2 other energy to play it from your energy, leaving you still with all just mono green energy for your Tree of Might and your Fruit of Tree of Might, and be able to put down this 30k dual attacking double striker that then also wipes your opponent board. Because that's the thing, the only way you got to wipe a wide board is your Unison, which you're not always going to want to use for the wide because you're losing markers on it, so you can't use Charismatic. But this gives you another way to deal with wide boards without using that. So you can then use Cell, then use your Unison, and then rip cards from the hand. And this is a nice thing when it attacks, the counter attack on its attack, they bottom deck a card as well, so you're adding to that pressure. And it gives you a nice way another way to help finish that, and you can discard if you want or charge it, keep it. It's just a nice big way to finish. And for the side, I've changed it up a little bit for future, being the Ribrian. So basically, if you want to go from a hand control route, you switch out the Bardocks for Ribrian. We've also got the Prince of Destruction Vegeta, Prideful Warrior. Now I find this is going to be an interesting way, because this is a good way to help deal with Unisons, because it's Deflect, meaning it's not being stopped from being played. Triple Strike, meaning it could be a good way to pressure. And it has Servant, meaning that it's technically a 30k attacker, not a 20k attacker, because you're paying 4 energy for it. And it's unison removal because of the fact that it's auto is when your leader card, if your leader card is mono green, which our leader is, when this card is played, you choose up to one of your opponent's unison cards and remove 3 markers from it. And one of the most annoying unisons in the game is currently the Boo unison. So with this deck, all you need to do is swing with your lead or your unison, swing, take a marker with the Boo, then play this, remove the last 3 markers from Boo, get rid of it, and you have a 30k triple striker to attack into your leader, your opponent's leader, and try and finish off as well. And then we have Cocoonza, Beastly Maiden, just to help deal with one of our best ways to help deal with U7 if you don't have the 6 drop on board, because then when they attack with the U7, you get the pop it, negate the attack, play this and pop it. And we got Cheering to help with the Return the Tide. Oceanus is a way to deal with, to switch out the Boo for it, depending on your strategy. If you want to go for more of like a floodgate that ends turn later on, you can switch out Oceanus for Boo. So that way, because normally when later gets into the turn, they're not going to be wanting to attack through milling, as they would with losing hand. And then we've got Blue Impulse for never way you get unison down, board wipe, can never way to board wipe you need be, and Focus Breakthrough, which helps deal with floodgate nates if you want to go and push through. And most of these easy switch out because the Cell here is an easy switch out for anything, either the Cocoonza, for switching out cards. Keel Driver and Cell are easy switches, and then for Oceanus and Ribrian, you got Ribrian can be easy switched out for the Bardock, and Boo for the Oceanus. And the other tech cards is mainly going to be the Foo if you don't want it as a useful finisher, if you don't feel it's going to be useful, or the Cell or the Kill Driver are going to be the easier switches if you need be. That is it for the deck. This is something I've been enjoying, and I haven't tested with the Cell, but I feel like in theory it could work as a great finisher for a helpful, useful card. And that is it for the video. So once again, thank you for watching. Feel free to like the video if you enjoy it. Comment down below if there's any changes or any suggestions you have. It'd be nice to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe as well if you haven't. And that's it for me today. So enjoy the deck if you want to try it out. I'll have the link to the description of the deck, so you can put it in untap or have a deck list or just check it out to play it and try it out for yourself. But that is it for me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.